Welcome back, Benchwarmers. We're here for another episode of the Blueprint to see how Nando did in fantasy over the weekend.
I didn't get any text with Nando guaranteeing a win, so I'm wondering how we did.
Hey, I was ready to say it, but I held back until it was final.
I don't know if that's good or bad based on your tone here. I'm Brendan, trying not to be annoyed.
I'm Corey, former fantasy commissioner.
I'm Nando, now 3-2, and this is our view from the bench.
Before we get started, if you're not already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss any one of the new episodes.
Also, if you could please do us the favor, if you like what you see or hear, please don't forget to smash that like button.
Come on, smash it for us. It's free. It's free for you. It's free for us. Helps out the channel a lot more than you probably think.
Hell yeah.
All right, gentlemen.
Woo.
We are back.
All right.
So, Nando, I heard that we are now 3-2. You are now someone is now 3-2, right? So we got a nice victory over the weekend. Are you happy?
I'm very happy. It's
I know that oh, go ahead.
It was a substantial win that we got here. My first big win. I think this is the second time I've passed the hundreds, so it was I was proud of my
Good.
team.
And you had some good picks. We all actually picked right. We didn't have anybody sitting on the bench with like a ton of points this week, so that was pretty good. And your man, Brock Bowers, first career NFL touchdown on a huge play coming up big for us too. That was one of the big ones from this week. I was proud of him, and I know that you were happy too. Now, the Raiders kind of blew it, didn't do shit besides that. But hey, we needed Brock, and Brock came through. That was good. So, happy for that. Corey, we have the matchup here on the board, reviewing Week 5. Anybody that you see that maybe not was a surprise, but that you were like, yeah, I knew that we can count on that guy, and there he is that came through.
To be honest with you, I was hoping Burrow was going to have a big game because I kind of talked about, do we keep him long term? What's the goal here, and how is it looking? And it was like 1 or 2 more weeks maybe, and he just balled out with the 5 touchdowns. So he was huge this week. I don't know. Just everybody really. I mean, we only had a couple guys, including the kicker, in single digit points. So everybody did work this week, and then when thankfully the other guy against us had nothing, and we, like you said, we didn't put anybody on the bench we should have played and screwed ourselves later. So I feel good about the win. Again, I'm with you. There was no text from Nando guaranteeing anything too early, so that
was a good start.
So, but I did think about it during that Monday night game yesterday. I was like, okay, if the defense does okay, but if he doesn't do anything crazy, they should be okay with the win. And got the dub. So
and luckily it did show up that way. Yeah, I know that going into it, Nando had told us that we were basically up, I think, 31 points or something like that going into Monday night, and all he had was the defense. Now, I've seen crazier things. I've seen defenses score in the high 20s. I don't know if I remember a 30-point, but I know it's like possible, extremely improbable, but possible. And when the Saints drove down on the first possession and threw an interception, I was like, oh gosh, is this the beginning of the end? Is this another jinx? So luckily, Saints made it a game. Obviously the Chiefs won, but Saints made it a game, and it wasn't anything that we had to worry about. So that was good.
Yeah.
Sure.
Another one that I thought that was a big one that has been coming through for us a couple weeks, but then kind of was short this week, was Deontay Johnson, our receiver. But like I said, man, he was the only one in single digits, so it almost didn't matter. But it was good. It was a good week, and I'm excited for being 3-2. We basically have stayed. Well, we started 0-1. So besides starting 0-1, we've been at or above 500 since. So we went 1-1, and then we were 2-1, 2-2, now 3-2. So just moving up, staying steady. Just got to make it to the playoffs. That's pretty much all that we got to worry about.
Yep, just make it in, and then anything can happen.
Exactly. So before we jump into the waiver wire, where we talk about what we're going to look to pick up, and before we look at the Week 6 matchup, I just wanted to kind of note something. There was a trade that went down in the league. I'm trying my best. This is the annoyed part. I'm trying my best to not be like super annoyed, because honestly, it is just fantasy football. It's really not that big of a deal, right? Nobody's lives at stake here, right? But when I play fantasy football, especially as a commissioner, I try to be like as fair as possible. Because it's just that's how the rules, that's how it should be played, is as fair as possible. And when we looked the other day, we saw a trade that went down, and it was so lopsided. I wanted to bring light to it, because any other league, and Corey, I believe you can probably attest to this, any other league that I would have been in any time in my entire life, this trade would not have gone down. It either wouldn't have been accepted by one of the players, and if for some reason that player did accept it, it definitely wouldn't have been vetoed by the lead as extremely one-sided.
Yep. I mean, I couldn't agree more. When you first brought it up, I was like, okay, well, trades happen, but oh, you guys don't vote on it. That's weird because, like you said, I feel like every league I've ever been in my entire life has always had the league has to vote on it and make sure somebody's not basically doing a fire sale and just giving away guys that are good just to give them away because they've had a bad season or anything like that. And make sure the trades are fair. And this one was definitely kind of on that side of like, it's a little suspicious. I'm surprised, but if there's no vote going down with the league having to vote on every transaction, then I guess anything can kind of go under the, under the wire, so to say.
Yeah, and to me, it's just not fair. There's no other really way to put it. Again, it's not that big of a deal. It's fantasy football, but if we're talking about, I mean, there's money on the line in this league, and there's a punishment if you come in last place. So it's not like it's all for fun. I mean, there is something to it. The punishment is buying rounds of beers or staying out. Like if check out episode 1 where we talk about it, or maybe it was 2. And again, money on the line. The trade was this: one player has Dallas Goddard. Now, Dallas Goddard is on the Eagles, and he had a bye week in week 5. So, like anybody who has a bye week, you look to try to fill that. However, how he filled it is what I have the problem with, because there's plenty of tight ends out on the waiver wire. In fact, the guy that we played picked his tight end that he started this week up off the waiver wire, and he got 20-something points against us. So it's not like it's few and far between. Now, there's not as abundant as receivers and backs, but the point still stands. The trade was the guy who needed a tight end received Dalton Kincaid. Okay, probably the 10th or 12th best tight end in the entire league. By the way, every team really only has one, so that's not great. He's in the middle. Okay, and in exchange, this gentleman gave up DJ Moore. Yes, the number 1 wide receiver in Chicago. Did you notice I didn't say that was all? Because there's an and. Yes, so the person gave up DJ Moore and Drake London for Dalton Kincaid, straight up. 2 number 1 wide receivers for their respective teams for arguably the 12th or 13th best tight end in the league. Before I go into like some stats to back me up how ridiculous this was, Corey, do you have any comments so I can kind of calm down before I keep going?
Yeah, no, take a breather. No, I'm with you though. Like looking at the numbers and what these two guys like create compared to Kincaid, and ultimately you're only doing it to fill a spot for 1 week. It's not like this is going to be your rest of the way tight end, or he's number 1 or number 2 tight end overall that you're getting out of it, and you had to
Exactly.
pay a high price for it. Like you're paying a way steep price for something that you might have on the team for a week or two, and then you're probably going to cut and go back to your normal tight end because they'll be done with bye weeks unless there's an injury. So it definitely.
Right.
And again, to not have any kind of voting or any kind of notification of any trades going down unless we checked the waiver wire ourselves and noticed it, then that's kind of a sketchy thing, and almost wonder if, I don't want to say the C word around here, but,
We'll say the S word and call it shady. How about that?
there you go. There's some shady shit going down. It kind of looks like with the fact that this is going down the way it is.
Exactly. So just to kind of wrap it up with some numbers to context for those who don't know, if you know football, you already know how ridiculous this trade is. 2 number 1 wide receivers in DJ Moore and Drake London for Dalton Kincaid. But for context, for those who may not know, Dalton Kincaid is a second-year tight end. He plays for the Bills. Has, depending on who you ask, the second or third best quarterback in all the league behind Patrick Mahomes. For his entire career, he's got 839 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's 16 games last season and 5 so far this season. So of 21 games, he's got 3 touchdowns. That means every 7 games, he gets 1. Okay? By context, DJ Moore, granted, has been doing more. DJ Moore has 3 touchdowns this year. And he's playing with a rookie quarterback in Caleb Williams, who has been handing the ball off for the first 2 weeks and is just now understanding how to throw it at the NFL level. By comparison, Drake London also, for his career, granted, third year guy, apologies. And he's played with Desmond Ridder as his quarterback, who was immediately cut as soon as they knew they could sign Kirk Cousins and draft Michael Penix. Has put up 900 yards last year with Desmond Ridder and 866 yards in his rookie season with one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, which is what Dalton Kincaid has done his entire career. Last bit of context. Dalton Kincaid this year has 166 yards total season and 1 touchdown. Drake London on Thursday night had 156 yards and 1 touchdown. Just so we're clear. That was just Thursday night. 12 catches, 156 yards, and a touchdown. DJ Moore on Sunday had 5 catches, 105 yards, and 2 touchdowns. All for Dalton Kincaid's 2 catches, 34 yards. Congratulations, you swindler. You swindled it out. What's annoying is we had 2 good tight ends, and we needed wide receiver help, but no way in hell did we think anybody would trade one of our tight ends for 2 number 1 wide receivers.
Yeah.
So here we are screwed still. I am done now, and I
Mark
hope that wasn't too crazy.
No, actually, that's pretty calm. You did a good job.
It's just, that's ridiculous. It's a shady trade, and I just think it's kind of lame.
Nando, your thoughts?
I'm surprised you kept your cool to start off. To
Thank
follow that with, as someone who barely knows anything about football, I thought already that 2 for 1 player, I think it'd have to be like the number 1 QB scoring like 25, 30 points every week to amount to that.
Yes, that's thank you, Nando. You don't even play. Thank you. Yes, continue.
And I don't think the most points I've seen so far league-wise has been like maybe around 40-ish points from, I believe it was a 1 QB.
Yeah, under Saquon Barkley week 1.
Yeah.
Just blow-ups, yeah.
And those are either games that are extremely like oriented towards them, like, oh, they're seeing momentum, they're picking it up, and they're handling it. But it's not like it happens every game. So it's just one of those things, like you see a tight end for a wide receiver in general, that's already like enough. Mm-hmm. Especially with how tight ends have been this entire season. There's only been like either a good game with 1 tight end that happens for each one of them.
Yep.
Or we have someone like Brock Bowers, hey, my player,
Hey.
who has a pretty good average compared to the rest of them.
And that's a good point. Having every so often a good game as opposed to a weekly standard is a big deal. To your point, if it was 1 for 1, regardless of who it was, whether it was DJ Moore or Drake London, it still would be lopsided in my opinion. But I wouldn't scoff at it as bad because it's like, whatever. If that's what they decided, 1 for 1, that is what it is. But there was absolutely no reason to include another number 1 wide receiver. It's crazy. Last thing, I know I said it was my last thing. DJ Moore was the 6th best wide receiver last year for fantasy with Justin Fields as his quarterback, who's about to lose the starting job in Pittsburgh. Okay, so 6th best. Last year, Dalton Kincaid was the 14th best tight end. And he got 2 receivers. I'm done. Okay. So, moving on to us, because we don't get cool number 1 wide receivers in trades, we're scouring the waiver wire.
Oh,
Nando, if you will pop it up on the screen, Nando, can you take us through the waiver wire? A couple of the guys that we're looking to pick up this week.
So, I have finally decided, after 2 weeks of no Tua, that Darnell Mooney, who's now on the waiver wire after last week, people have tossed some players, picked some up, and Darnell Mooney was available. And because of that, we said, hey, Waddle, we see you. You have potential, lots of it.
Lots.
Your team has so much potential, but we have no idea where Tua is going to be at. So
yeah.
I took the vote and said, hey, let's try to drop Waddle for him. Then we have 2 people that we're trying to drop for Jerome Ford. We have Tank Bigsby, who is that Jacksonville's?
Yep, the running back for Jacksonville.
Yep. And then we have Brian Thomas Jr., who's also a wide receiver for Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yep.
And we're hoping that we get one of them. If we don't get Tank, who is on our second pick for the waiver, then we hopefully get Brian.
Yes.
If we get one of them, it's going to be so helpful. We need the wide receivers all the time. We have 4 people on the bye week this week, so we're kind of running it tight.
It's rough. That was really good, Nando. Honestly, you laid it out completely. You laid out the reasons why. I want to throw it to Corey. We were fighting him on this Jalen Waddle thing, and for good reason, man. Jalen Waddle's very talented, but he really does have a point. Without Tua, nothing's happening, and who really knows what's going on with him, right?
Yeah, no, and he's going to be off IR next week, but even then, how soon does he come back to the field? We haven't really gotten any updates or anything, so who knows? But I just hope it doesn't come back to bite us later, where Tua comes back and all of a sudden they're hot and Waddle's grabbed up by somebody. But we just got to keep an eye on it if we hear anything about Tua, that if we can try to get Waddle back really quick on a waiver claim, but hopefully after the waiver
period, like Wednesday morning or something.
The Wednesday period part, so we don't have to wait for it. But we'll just have to keep an eye on it. But I think it's worth it because, again, we have struggled with wide receivers so far, and with Adams out, but also going to be traded. We're
who knows what team he's going to?
Yeah, we're banking on that kind of as a back end. So we got a lot of guys. Like if we could keep Waddle, then we're just banking on a lot of guys that are going to be good in 3 weeks from now. And right now, we need to kind of worry about this week. So that's what we're doing by focusing on getting Mooney instead. hopefully it works out for us.
Yeah, no, that's true. Hopefully it does. Well said for sure. So that's where we're at in the waiver wire this week. I wish we could have had DJ Moore and Drake London, but that's okay.
Yes, yes. I also would like to add that
Please.
last week you wanted to pick up Justin Fields, the Pittsburgh's
did.
QB, and I'm glad we didn't.
Well, I wouldn't have
'Cause-
started him, just so we're on the same page.
Because
But to your point, yeah,
even if you somehow, so for some reason, I wanted to start him,
true.
he scored a whopping 15 points, which isn't bad for a QB. It's like
Not
just
terrible.
under their average.
Yeah,
But
34 is a lot better.
compared to Joe Burrow, they're picking it up a bit more. You know,
Yeah.
I'm appreciating it a lot.
Yeah,
And we also lucked out with this week having two other players. Feel bad for them, but feel great for me as a fantasy football player. That Nico Collins and who is it? Deontay?
Oh, didn't finish the game?
No.
Yes, they got put out like halfway in the game.
Yeah, not good for them. We don't root for injuries, Nando, just so everybody. The blueprint does not root for injuries. However, if we're playing against someone who gets injured, we won't complain. We'll put it that way. Okay. All right, Nando. I like that. Thank you. Thank you for adding that, honestly. The more that we can indulge and inform the viewers, the better. Okay, I'm really hoping for Tank. Really quick. I talked about Tank last week because remember we saw ETN, he was on the bench. Somebody cut ETN, and we were like, damn, why is ETN cut? And I was like, honestly, I have been hearing about this guy, Tank Bigsby, and he blows up this week. And I was like, damn it, we should have snagged him. We probably wouldn't have played him because we didn't know, but it would have been nice to already have him. So fingers crossed for the waiver wire.
Yeah, but you just never know because like it was just
You
so
don't.
weird with the ETN thing. It was so bizarre. So I don't know. I guess we didn't really jump on it like we should have, like you mentioned. But hopefully it still doesn't come back to bite us here.
Exactly. Yep. All right. Well, we don't have it final. At least I don't think it's final because we were looking at his bench, and I think he has some people that he's probably going to throw up in the into his starters. But again, make sure that you catch our midweek update, and we will give you exactly what we're going into the weekend with. But for now, week 6 matchups on the board. Anybody in particular you might be not afraid of, I guess, but nervous about to go against here? This is the team, just so we're all on the same page, that just lost DJ Moore and Drake London. So, albeit, I guess I'm happy for 1 week, although I still think it's a bogus trade. So, anybody you're afraid of here, bud? Nando?
He definitely has some tough opponents, but my tough opponents have tough opponents as well.
Yeah.
Going against Detroit, San Fran, Pittsburgh, the Jets.
Yeah,
That's
tough defenses.
That's almost his entire team for the most part, and his kicker's going against Buffalo. And kickers have potential a lot. You know, we have Chris Boswell, who had his game where it was all kicks. It was six kicks to win the whole game, 18 to 16 or 13.
Yeah, that was funny.
And that game, you know, it's possible, but I'm hoping it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm really hoping. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think with them having Harrison Jr. and Murray, I know it's a Cardinal fan for you, Brendan, but if we're looking at if the Cardinals have a bad day overall, then I think we have a really good chance of winning because that's 2 big pieces that's on this roster that's going against us. So if they have a bad day offense,
And it is in Green Bay.
Exactly. They're going to Green Bay. You know, Green Bay's pretty good. So if they go in there and as long as they don't go off and they lose, again, Brendan, I'm not wishing for you on that.
No worries.
But as far as fantasy goes, if they don't have a great day, then you know that gives us an opportunity to possibly win because again, that's 2 big pieces that you would anticipate typically having a lot of points scored. So if they're down in the low teens or Harrison doesn't even hit double digits, then I feel really good going into that.
Nice.
And to add to that even more, if they do great, we hope he plays Jordan Love instead.
Yeah, true. They got Jordan Love on the bench.
True.
They're playing technically each other, right? Kyler Murray and Jordan Love. So we'll update you guys at the end of the week to see. But yeah, that would be good if Kyler goes off, then Jordan should do good. If Jordan goes off, then hopefully he plays Kyler, and hopefully he just picks the wrong guy.
Yeah.
I know Jahmyr Gibbs is also on his bench. I'm sure he's going to be throwing him up there probably instead of Madison. I doubt anybody wants to play anybody playing Pittsburgh, so that's not very good. But again, we got a shot right now. We are underdogs by 7 points, and he doesn't even have his most optimal lineup. So we'll see how it goes. But again, that's why they play the game. Doesn't really matter what the thing might be. That's why we play the game. So yeah, stoked to see it. I don't know. I'm pretty cool with this one. I mean, I got it off my chest about the trade. Picking up a couple guys on waiver, so that's good. We're 3-2. It's in the positive. So I don't know. I think it was a pretty good week. Yeah, Nando?
I think it's a great week.
All right.
Best week.
Great. So far it's been pretty good. Well, make sure you do tune in for the update that we'll have later this week. That's probably on Friday or Saturday will be the update. We'll show you exactly who we're going to be starting. Appreciate everybody. Let us know down in the comments. Was that trade bogus? Am I losing? Am I crazy, or was that trade pretty bogus? Also, let us know if you've seen any crazier trades in fantasy, because to me that's just a little lopsided. We're 3-2. Where are you at? Are you above us? Are you not doing too great? Are you the guy selling the team to the guy with the good record? Just asking. We want to hear from you in the comments. We'll talk back. We swear. Let us know. Appreciate everybody stopping by. Thank you as always for thinking things from our view from the bench. I'm Brendan.
I'm Corey. Like we always say, enjoy the sports until we talk again.
Peace.
Love and positivity!
This was a Sycamore Fourth Studios production.